I don't care who it's against, what quarterback it's against. You go and pitch a shutout in the NFL, that's hard to do. And you've got the second greatest quarterback of all time, the second greatest coach of all time, and a top 10 defense. You're going to win some ball games. Hey, welcome back to the Heartland Huddle podcast, Chiefs, Lions, and NFL talk. I'm Eric Willard. Alongside here, once again, he did so well the last time I had to bring him back. My grandpa, Tim, he's back with us to talk all things Chiefs, Lions, and just kind of around the NFL. And of course, if you've been rocking with us all year, hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate the love and support. If you're new to our content, let us know there's new episodes out every single Wednesday. You can catch us all year long. But enough of that. I want to dive right into it, Tim. Great performance all around. I thought we played complimentary football this afternoon. It was a very complete game. One of the first complete games we've seen from the Chiefs in a very long time.
Absolutely.
And I thought, absolutely. And as a fan, I just think, I didn't have to get out my heart medication today, you know, and it's something that I've been looking forward to. I know you have. Initial thoughts, what we see, the headlines, of course, are that Rashee Rice is back, and we'll get into that. But outside of just Rashee Rice, what did you see? What did you like? Thoughts?
Some good things that I liked. One of the things I really liked is it just seemed like they played inspired football today. You saw energy at all levels. I felt like Pacheco ran as like he was in his rookie season again. The defense was sound, the offense, but it was like it was all done with an enthusiasm and a level of excitement. You know, I had to think. I was watching today, and in my mind I go, 99-yard kickoff interception return ain't happening against this team today. Somebody would have ran him down.
Yeah.
Okay?
Good point.
That's just the way I felt today, you know. So it was very exciting to see them get that kind of effort out there today. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And it was one of those to where, you know, we kind of talked about it. I think the best thing to come out of that Jacksonville game was the embarrassment that was Chris Jones. I think we all know how that conversation probably went with Andy Reid. I think maybe Tuesday morning, Andy Reid says, "Hey, Chris, I need to speak with you in my office." And he gets in there and Andy Reid says, "Hey, you know what this is about? Do we need to talk about it?" And I guarantee Chris Jones said, "No, sir, I've got it handled. It won't happen again." And Andy Reid probably said, "Okay." And now you've got Chris Jones who's been on a vengeance. You know, you've got Chris Jones who he doesn't want his narrative and his legacy to be, hey, he was past his prime and he's kind of lazy, this, that, and the third. He had the big sack today. I thought that was good to see out of him. Our defense overall, because once again, Rashee Rice, that's the main headline, getting number 4 back and things like that. But just our defense, Tim, and it's something we've always said. If Mahomes has a top 15 unit on that side of the ball, let alone a top 7 or 8 unit, we're going to win a lot of football games. And I don't care who it's against, what quarterback it's against. You go and pitch a shutout in the NFL, that's hard to do. Yeah. And you've got the second greatest quarterback of all time, the second greatest coach of all time, and a top 10 defense. You're going to win some ball games. Talk about the defense today.
Games. Yeah. And not only did Chris Jones have the 1 sack, but he had 3 holding calls against him. And if you think about 3 holding calls, that's minus 30 yards. You know, everybody thinks about the sack losing yards, but you get a holding call against you because you're being a beast in there. You just cost him 10 yards, and he got 3 of them called against him today, you know, and that sets drives back. You know, there's a big difference between 1st and 10 and 1st and 20, as we know in the NFL. So, you know, That's pretty important to remember too.
And you're talking about the holds, meaning they held Chris Jones three
They held
times. They
Chris
had
Jones
offense all.
because they
Gotcha.
couldn't
Gotcha. Yeah.
they
Couldn't block him.
couldn't block him.
Absolutely.
That doesn't
Absolutely.
show up on paper
You know,
sometimes as a sack, but like I say, when it all said and done, he did his job well enough that it cost them 30 yards of negative yards.
yes. Yep. And you're creating opportunities for others as well. The
Yeah.
Karlaftises, the Danas, you're creating these one-on-one opportunities, for these other guys, Omenahu and things like that. One of my nitpicks, I think I would like to see a little bit more pressure. I would like to see our defensive
Mhm.
line get after it just a little bit more. But that's where that complementary football comes into play, and the aspect of our secondary did a hell of a job, doing their
Yeah.
job in covering, allowing our D line time and vice versa. So, like I said, you pitch a shutout. I mean, and by the way, not
It
just
is.
a shutout, Tim. I'm talking 93 yards of total offense, and the Raiders earned a total of 3 first downs the entire game. So I'm going
Didn't
to
have
repeat
a
that.
first down
The
until the
Raiders
fourth
earned a
quarter,
total of 3. Yeah.
and didn't
I
have
mean,
one until
that's,
the fourth quarter. You know, it's like,
yeah,
okay, that that's cool. That's cool. And
yeah.
I don't know, just watching the whole game is just exciting. And it's like I think a lot of the team have been listening to the chatter. I think the running back room had been listening. Oh, they got to trade for a running back. They're not doing this. Patrick Mahomes is leading, and I think
Hmm.
they decided, okay, no, we're going to come out. I mean, like I say, Pacheco ran like a beast today. They said Kareem
Yeah.
Hunt's only been stopped once this year on a third and one. I think that's what they
Insane.
said.
Yeah.
They came out and played like some legit running backs today. And then the defense, they've been hearing the chatter, you know, and in the okay, no, boys, we're gonna Jacksonville. Jacksonville was not us. We're gonna show you. We don't want to hear the chatter anymore. We're gonna put a stop to it. We're gonna show you what we are. And they came out and showed
Yeah.
everybody today. You know,
Yeah. You're
and
you're you're absolutely right, and I think Romo said it on the broadcast. This is a championship team now,
yeah,
and it's one of the most. When I'm watching the game, I'm also looking at it's one of the most complete teams since really 2019. And what I mean by that is, if you remember, of course, after that 2018 season when Mahomes first broke out and 50 touchdowns, all this stuff. We fired Bob Sutton, the then defensive coordinator, and the next year we hire Steve Spagnuolo. We go to the Super Bowl. Boom, boom, boom. The rest is history. And that team, was it as talented on the defensive side of the ball back then? No. But we had just brought in a Tyrann Mathieu. Chris Jones was in his prime. And we finally had a defense that could complement that Tyreek Hill, Kelce connection, Pat Mahomes, and all of that. Then you fast forward, people forget we trade Tyreek Hill. The last 2 Super Bowls we've won, Tim, have not been because of the offense, in my
yeah,
opinion.
no, I
We've
would
had
agree.
George Karlaftis, Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, I mean, we've had elite Legarius Sneed 2 years ago. And before we traded him, those were defensive Super Bowls. And so my point is that we still weren't really that balanced. This team this year, and we were supposed to have it this past year, but that's either here nor there. This team this year, between the defense, between the offense now that everybody's healthy and back from suspension, this is the most complete, balanced team I've seen the Chiefs have really under Patrick Mahomes' tenure outside of that 2019 season.
I'm going 100% agree with you. They and it's that balance that's just going to be nightmarish for
Yes.
opposing teams. One of the best things I saw today was Thornton and Juju.
Yep.
I was a little nervous
Yes.
going in. Okay, we get Rice back now. Everybody's going to be Rice, Brown, the main guys. And I love seeing Juju and Thornton not be forgotten today because now you put that story
Yes.
out there. There's a lot of defensive coordinators that play a lot of teams that have 2 good wide receivers. They play teams that have 3 wide receivers they have to worry about. Now, next week,
Yes.
when they sit down, they go, "Oh, not only we got 6 we got to worry about," and they didn't forget them. I mean, that's a legit Patrick Mahomes. You lay off Thornton, he has no problems going. I'll throw him the ball all day. You know,
Yes.
Juju's got that same knack as Kelce's got. Of he's played with Patrick long enough now that you know, he'll stop a route, he'll change a route, and Patrick's played with him enough. I'm going to sit right here because there's a hole right here, and I'm going to
Yeah.
stop right here because Patrick will see me and throw me the ball. You know,
Absolutely.
and
Mhm.
so that's just another added level of these defensive coordinators are going to have to really pay attention. What are they going to do? Because
Yeah.
basically what you're saying now is every wide receiver on the field you got to pay attention to.
Yep. Yeah.
And
And
you saw what happened when you went one-on-one. That's not a good thing for other teams, you know?
no.
So I felt like that was a very key for me. That was just a very important aspect. Don't forget your other weapons, and he didn't forget them. And
Abs-
that's just adding a layer.
absolutely. Yeah, to your point too. To your point, Travis Kelce 3 targets, Rashee Rice 10. Clearly, there was a game plan there. Rashee Rice 10, Kelce 3. Our rookie running back Rashard Smith 5 targets, Tyquan Thornton 2, Juju 3 targets, Xavier Worthy 4, Noah Gray 1, Hollywood Brown 4, Isaiah Pacheco 2. And it's that sort of it's that sort of socialistic attack, a liberal
Yeah,
attack that it gets the job done. And it reminds me after that 2022 season when we trade away Tyreek Hill, and it was okay, we got Juju, Marquez, Valdez, Scantling, McCole, Hardman, and who else? Albeit, was that a great receiving core? No. But we did open ourselves up to 4 or 5 options that defenses can't just sit on, and that was really key for us and fueling that Super Bowl run and being more dynamic across the board. And to your point too, Tim, like you said, we've seen Mahomes with 5 or 6 options before. We haven't seen him with 5 or 6 options that he trusts. And that's the key. I can have 6 options, but as a defensive coordinator, I still know he's going to Rashee or Kelce on 3rd and 6. I know that. As a
well,
linebacker, I know that. As a safety, I know that. I know that if it's 3rd and 5, I might have 5 other guys to technically worry about. He's going to Kelce, though, or he's going to Rice. And now that's not the case. On a 3rd and 9, Mahomes will go to Thornton. Mahomes will go to Hollywood. Mahomes will go, so you can't just double Kelce or Rice on those big down conversion plays.
that's what people have to realize. One of the special things about Patrick Mahomes is right there. There's a lot of quarterbacks. Oh, they got 6 options. They can only make 3 reads. Okay, so
Yeah. Yeah.
the other ones really aren't any good. Patrick Mahomes reminds me of Peyton Manning. You put Patrick Mahomes has that ability. I've got 6 targets, and guess what? I'm good enough to look at all 6. I'm good enough to
Yeah.
understand where they're at, where they're supposed to be, and which one's open. And not every
Mm-hmm.
quarterback in the NFL has that ability. Matter of fact,
Yep.
uh, maybe the 2 old guys, Flacco and Rodgers, have played enough football that they can know enough to be able to see. But I'm having a hard time coming up with another name of a quarterback that has the ability that Patrick Mahomes has of finding the proper person to throw it to, finding that open guy. And when you add in the fact that, he can look downfield at the safety and throw it over to Rice on the sideline without looking at him.
Yeah, right. Bingo. That's what was gonna be my point, was that I think Jared Goff's another guy that can throw on timing and rhythm and make 4 or 5 reads. However, he's got to have the time. It's not going to be unscripted. It's not going to be something that he can get outside of the structure of
Okay,
play
that's a good
and
one.
continue to read the field like that. But right. But like I said, if Mahomes is able to do it in the pocket, outside of the pocket, we all know his ability, and that's where it separates him. There's a lot of guys that can take a 3 to 5 step drop, pat the ball twice, and get the ball out to a second or a third option. Not a lot of guys who can do that after running around for 8 seconds and throwing it, to your point, throwing it left-handed behind their head, whatever. So overall, speaking of Mahomes, he was 26 of 35 for 282 yards and 3 touchdowns. We know, of course, they took him out before the fourth quarter, which is always great bookkeeping by Reed there. Stay healthy. No reason to have him on the field. It was 31-0 when they took him out. So, yep, nice to take care of business there. So, absolutely.
I love the fact that the offensive line, I think you're the one that said to me the other day, we might look back on Brett Veach's add-ons this year and find out the left tackle, Jalen Moore, might be one of the biggest pickups he did. He's looked very good to me, shoring that down. And then Trey Smith goes out today. Really, didn't miss a beat. That offensive line played well for him today.
Yes.
So,
yes.
That was another neat thing I saw.
And it all, and Tim, it's a domino effect. It all builds off of each other. Heck, you look at our rushing game. All of a sudden, Pacheco, 15 carries, 57 yards, and a touchdown. Brashard Smith, our rookie, 14 carries, 39 yards. As a team, we go 41 touches for 152 yards and a touchdown. And that's something as Chiefs fans we've been going on and on about really since the end of last year. Once Pacheco got hurt, Kareem Hunt came in, and all of the different things is we've been yelling about a running game. Well, there's so many variables, right? Now that, the defense is playing better, so therefore we get the ball more. The downfield attack, Rice is healthy. Worthy's and Thornton are running downfield. We're putting that on tape. Now there's less guys in the box. And it just all, is Pacheco the answer? No. And I think we both agree to that. However, he's still a competent Super Bowl winning running back that when he has only 6 guys in the box can still get you 5 to 7 yards. And we see Kareem Hunt is still good on those third and short situations. It's a domino effect. It's complementary football. It's balanced football. And it's been a very long time since we've seen that as Chiefs fans.
Yes. I have a feeling tomorrow when we listen to Good Morning, some of the sportscasters tomorrow, that word balance is going to come from them too.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's a good word you're using. Very, very, very balanced. All phases of the game. You're not pointing out a weak area today.
No.
So.
Yeah. So all around, clearly we're happy with the Chiefs, but I would be remiss if we didn't have a little bit of Detroit talk on the podcast. This is the Heartland Huddle podcast, Chiefs, Lions, and NFL talk. My usual co-host is from Detroit, Xavier. You guys all know him and love him, and he couldn't be with us here today. However, we still have a big Monday night matchup going on there with Detroit tomorrow night against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Detroit rolls in 4-2, having gotten manhandled this past week by your very own Kansas City Chiefs. We like that. Hopefully you guys were able to join in on our live stream podcast that we did for that week 6 matchup. But yeah, Detroit rolls in 4-2. Tampa Bay rolls in hurt and hobbled, Tim, but they've got, in my book, would be the MVP right now, and that's Mr. Baker Mayfield. And that's a tough matchup.
It is. Last week when I was watching them, and I was watching Baker and I was watching them, honestly, it was reminding me a little bit of the Chiefs last year. Chiefs had a lot of injuries. weren't putting out full teams out there, but yet they were still winning every week. Patrick
Yeah.
was still being Patrick. You're right. I mean, a lot of injuries, Tampa Bay, but Baker Mayfield's just playing smart football right now. I'll agree with you. I right now he's got to be, if he's not leading the MVP voting, he's got to be in the conversation.
100%.
So with Detroit still being banged up on the defensive and their secondary, could be a long day. I don't think it's going
Yes.
to be. I think Dan
Okay, good.
Campbell and the running game and the overall maturity of the Detroit Tigers, I think it's going to be a close game, but I do think Detroit wins. I think they'll do just enough to get her done.
Well, let me ask you about that, Tim. And it's a good point you bring up. I'm glad you used the word maturity. And we all know what happened against the Chiefs at the end of the game with Brian Branch, the Pro Bowl safety, a third-year safety out of Alabama. Brian Branch has been nothing but a revelation since he's come into the league. He was drafted in the second round, namely, too, there were some off the field character questions. He drops to Detroit in the second round, and he's been nothing but a stud ever since. But you saw some of those issues rear its ugly head against the Chiefs at the end of the game. He throws the punch, he punches Juju in the face, Juju goes down. We know the rest. And then now Brian Branch is suspended for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kind of talk, Tim, about that maturity aspect with Detroit. You heard the press conference from Dan Campbell and what he said. Talk to that maturity and how you think that affects their team and how they bounce back without him against the Bucs.
I like Dan Campbell. After the way he handled that situation, I love Dan Campbell. I think
Yeah.
it's something that is lacking in America is accountability, So him standing up and saying he was wrong. This is not the way we do
Yeah.
things. This is not going to be acceptable inside of our organization, I think is amazing. I applaud him for doing that. I hope Americans across the board, Detroit fans, you should walk with your head held very high because you got a leader out there that is setting a standard and setting something that is truthful and something that all young kids and everybody should aspire to. Okay.
Yes.
So, and I think that's going to go to the team. We have another team in the NFL where superstar wide receivers can say what they want and don't really get punished. We got
Let me guess.
quarterbacks
Is that
who,
Miami?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
where quarterbacks are spouting off with no consequence. Oh, I guess he did come out and say, "I'm sorry, I said that." It's like, come on, you're
Tua
not sorry.
Tagovailoa. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the message to the Detroit team is: we don't care who you are. There's a standard here,
Yeah.
and we're going to play at this standard. I honestly believe in my heart, if I'm not saying Brown would have done that, he'd be suspended for a game. Dan Campbell don't care. Okay, that's got
Yep.
to be such
Absolutely.
a uplifting message to the team and a rallying point for the team. I really believe that. Okay, we're down, but you know what? We're not embarrassed by. We had a player make a mistake. We were accountable for that. We're not going to be embarrassed by
Yes.
that. We're not going to hang our head. No, we stepped up to the plate. We took accountability for our teammate and our player, and we're
Yes.
moving on. And we're going to show you that we're good with it.
Yes.
I think is an amazing thing myself.
Yeah. I completely agree with everything you said. and to your point, having that standard and expectation, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's the reason why they've been so successful the past 4
Yeah.
years. And not just because of the talent and not just because of the drafting that Brad Holmes has done. We all know their talent. They're stacked across the board when healthy. I don't think there's another in football, maybe the Ravens when healthy, that are as talented on paper as Detroit. And so as much as that is true, it's also true that we've seen plenty of talented teams. We see it at the college level. We see it at the pro level that you can have all the talent in the world, but if your company culture and your expectations and standards are misaligned with good things, it's not going to work. And to your point, you
Yeah.
see that in places like Miami, like Cleveland, that gives for the lack of better term, you give a interesting character in Deshaun Watson a $250 million guaranteed contract. That and not only are you just it's bad contractually, it's bad optics too. You're sitting there saying you're supporting that, in his behavior by rewarding him with something like that. Tyreek Hill gets awarded another huge contract for being, and so for Dan Campbell to sit there and say that's not who we are, and I'm paraphrasing / quoting, quote, that's not who we are, that's not what we do. He knows that. The team knows that, and it will be handled. I apologize to Andy Reid, the Chiefs, and the Chiefs organization. Done. Now it's
I hope
done.
people
It's out
realize
of the
that.
media. Mhm.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
hope people
Go
realize
ahead.
that in any type of sports, any level of sports, we're all excited about the Chiefs today. We said that they played the best all around game of the season. Did anything
Last 3 years.
physically change? Okay. Did anything
No,
physically
no,
change? No. What changed was right
no.
here, right between their ears. Mentally, there was a
Mhm.
change. And we saw it today on the field. Okay. Mentally,
Absolutely.
Detroit, that message, and people got to realize that that game, it is a physical game. I understand, but it's also a very complicated game.
Yes.
It's a game still played by human beings who have emotions, who have ups, who have downs, and the message that is being sent there is we're winners, boys, and we're gonna act like winners. We're gonna play like
Yes.
winners, and we're gonna represent our city like winners and our fan base like winners.
Yes.
And that's a heck of a good message.
Yes. Being delivered by a heck of a good man. And so yeah,
Yeah.
kind of back to the football side of things. Appreciate your thoughts on that. Yeah, Detroit comes in 4-2, coming off the tough loss against KC, and the Bucs come in 5-1, 3-0 in the division. I believe they are. A lot of road wins, a lot of one-score wins. To your point, kind of being like the Chiefs last year, but going to be a tough game. It's in Detroit. It's at Ford Field. I like Detroit in the game too. My prediction, yes, I like Detroit. I like for them to bounce back. I think that's the other thing about Dan Campbell too. He might have not wanted to lose, but he sure loves the fuel. He has something that nobody believes in us. We suck.
Yeah.
Nobody, Amon-Ra, you're not a great wide receiver anymore. You had a draw. Like, he just has a lot of teach tape material. And I don't think there's a better motivator in the NFL than Dan Campbell, too. So it
Well,
gave him a lot of fuel to to say, hey, let's go back to the drawing board and let's get this right. And I guarantee this week of practice was focused. I guarantee it was intense, and it was, getting back to the drawing board there. So
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh, let me
I think it's
let
going to be
me
a
go
close game, but
here.
because it's in Detroit, and
Sure.
I don't see Detroit. Detroit isn't a team that beats themselves a lot, especially
Yes.
at home.
Good.
I don't feel like they beat themselves a lot. Jared Goff's not going to go out there and throw 3 interceptions. Okay,
No.
that's not going to happen. So yeah, I'm giving Detroit a slight edge in this one tomorrow night. Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Good. Check us out every single Wednesday. Brand new episodes every Wednesday here on the Heartland Huddle podcast. These predictions now, will come to fruition tomorrow night on Monday, but this episode will be out on Wednesday. So you'll be able to sort of cross-reference us. Make sure you hit us up in the comments and stuff. Let us know, hey, Tim, Eric, you guys were way off, or you guys were spot on. Engage with us in the comments. I guarantee we'll get back to you. Hit that subscribe button for new episodes every Wednesday. Tim, I wanted to zoom out here. I always like to take a holistic approach and kind of look at things after the Sunday matchups. You come out to the AFC side of things. Denver picks up a huge win, getting dominated that whole game by Jackson Dart, Scadaboo, and the young Giants team that's seemingly very scrappy and good. And they ended up pulling it out 33-32. And
Yeah.
I'm sitting back and I'm going, I need the Chargers to lose. We're taking care of the Raiders, and I need the Broncos to lose, And now we still have 2 games with the Broncos this year. We still have another one with the Chargers, and clearly we'll sweep the Raiders, but the Broncos are sitting at 5-2 with top of the division. You've got the Chargers at 4-3 and the Chiefs at 4-3, sitting a game back with everything still in front of us. Indianapolis sitting with that 6-1 record atop the AFC South, but then atop the whole entire NFL. And we do play the Colts later this year. That should be another loss. But do you like us in the division, and do you like us being able to run down the Colts on a stretch run?
I do. If you would ask me 2 weeks ago, I'm not sure that answer would have been what it is today. But
Yeah.
what I saw today was a team that is capable and is going to run everybody down. They're just that good. Now, you can always, an injury can always change things, but if they stay healthy like they are right now, throwing that group of people out there, both on offense and defense, they're running everybody down. Nobody's gonna
Oh, absolutely.
stop them. That offense is that offense is going to score 28 points a week minimum.
Think so. 28.
I do.
No reason not to.
I do. It's that
no
good.
reason not to. And when your defense is pitching shutouts, there's no reason not to. And that's going back, not to beat a dead horse, but going back to the complementary and balanced attack type of things, is that even if the offense does put up only 21, let's say, I'm confident the defense is only giving up 17. If the offense is, if the defense is giving up 30, I'm confident the offense is going to put up 34. And it's just, hey, we need you guys today. Tomorrow we'll need you guys. So, heck, some games we know special teams can win and lose you a ball game. And Nick Remigio, Butker, let's continue to get that better. But, you square up some of those little margin type of things where you can win and lose a ball game. And that's, and to the Chiefs' credit, not shooting themselves in the foot over the past years, that's how they've won championships, is they've just been better in the margins.
Yes.
And that's what championship teams
do.
In a game that comes down to maybe 2 or 3 plays every week, if you can go from 12 penalties to 6 to 4 to maybe 2, that'll win you a ball game right there. And I think you see the Chiefs starting to do that.
Let me ask you a question.
I was going to look at yeah.
Did you watch the Bengals-Steelers game?
Yes, I did. 2 41-year-olds going back and forth. Little to no defense.
I don't know if it's my age or what, but to me, I enjoyed watching that game. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seeing those two guys. And one of the things I really enjoyed about it is, if for people to go back and look at that game, tell me how many between those two, how many bad passes that were thrown. Both of those guys were. I mean, there's a reason why Jahmyr Chase caught that many passes. It's because there was quite a few of those. There was a 1-foot window, and Flacco put it there. Rodgers was just boom, boom. Those, they may be old, but they were putting that ball right where it needed to be.
Absolutely.
I don't know. There's just something about it. I just thoroughly enjoyed seeing those two Warriors go out there and do what they did.
Yeah.
Hype for the young kids is necessary. That's the future of the NFL, but it's sort of fun when you go out and see two old vets. You go, hey, you youngins, here's the way it's supposed to be done right
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Gray in the beard, and
Uh,
to the football side of things, that put the Steelers. The Steelers were looking to take a stranglehold on that AFC North
yeah.
division. There's a lot of implications there. I personally think the Ravens are done. I don't care that Lamar's back. I think the Ravens are done at 1-5. Cleveland, big 31-6 win against the Dolphins today. We talked about how the Dolphins have just imploded. Don't be surprised if Monday morning you're getting a message from ESPN saying Mike McDaniel's been fired. So I think it's a two-horse race in that AFC North. Who would have thought it was a hurt Joe Burrow Cincinnati Joe Burrow-less team and a 41-year-old led Aaron Rodgers team going at it for the AFC North? But with that loss, the Steelers drop to 4-2. The Bengals go to 3-4 and are just 2 games back of Steelers for that division. So
I
now,
remember
if you
talking to
get Burrow back, if you get Burrow back, hey, we're live. Cincinnati's a team that could be in the race.
Yeah. I remember talking to my brother-in-law after the Flacco trade, and he was going, well, why is Tomlin all upset about trading Joe Flacco? He's ancient and stuff. Yeah. Tomlin's actually a very smart individual, okay?
Yeah.
And he goes, I just traded for a 40-year-old quarterback, and I know what he can do. There was a reason why Tomlin didn't want Flacco to go to the Browns and Bengals, and you just saw it, folks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly. Give him some weapons. Give him the best wide receiver in football and probably another top 10 wide receiver in T. Higgins in football and a decent and a little time to throw. Dude can still spin it. And he's one of those what I like about those veteran guys, Tim, to your point, is that they don't overcomplicate things at this time in the career. If the guy's open, they throw it to him. They don't try to they don't, and Jahmyr Chase was just flat out open. And Flacco's not an idiot. He's going, that's Jahmyr Chase. That's pretty simple. You throw it to him about 20 times a game and you're going to have success. Like, let's not complicate this.
How old Stafford?
Stafford's what, 37? I think he's 37.
I think it's just going to be interesting at the end of the games this week. Touchdown is thrown. I bet you're going to have 3 old guys in the top 5.
Yeah.
And how many did Flacco throw? 4?
Yeah, I think both him and Rodgers had about 4 or 5 apiece. Yeah, about
4 or 5 apiece.
Yeah.
Stafford had what, 5 today or 4 today? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking of any other younger quarterback that threw more this week.
Yeah.
So hey, let's get the games done tomorrow night and see how these old fellas did.
Yeah.
For Stafford's another one that just does not overcomplicate things. Boys, go run your route. If you're open, I'm going to find the one that's open, and I'm going to throw you the ball. That's simple.
Even if that's Puka Nacua 25 times. Well, I guess he was open 25 times. I'm not going to complicate it. Yeah, I don't care who gets it, but that's where we're going. Yeah. So to your point, it's they all 3 of those guys can still spin it though. They've been doing a long time. But
yeah.
No, overall, Tim, once again, Kansas City, of course, they get it done at home. We've got another home game this next week against the Commanders, which, how about that? You come back home against the Commanders. Dallas hangs up 44 on them today, a week after losing. And we don't have to talk about Dallas. The Cowboys, I'm here in Texas. I don't need to talk about the Cowboys. However, the Cowboys, the inconsistent, they hang up 44 on the Commanders. That game was 44-22, and it really wasn't even that close. And so you would expect the Chiefs to be able to come in and handle business thoroughly.
Yeah. I was a little surprised that the Commanders could only put up 22 against Dallas defense. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I wasn't necessarily surprised. Dallas offense had been pretty sound this year, okay?
Yeah.
But I was surprised that the Commanders' offense just, only put up 22. And some
Yeah.
of that was late and a little bit of a gift. So, yeah, I think the Chiefs should be able to handle what they got pretty easily, honestly.
Yes.
I just don't see Washington's Jaden Daniels just they're good. I'm just having trouble coming up with words because I think the Chiefs are going to go out and dominate again. To be perfectly honest, I think their
I know
defense has
this.
gotten better and their offense is just going to roll. And I'm trying to be
Yeah.
polite
This
and trying to make it sound like every
I
team,
know.
but I don't believe it.
I know that's typically what I tell Xavier, and it's part of my trash talk. The bit I do is I always tell our subscribers and our listeners, Tim, one half of this podcast could get pretty boring. Now that there's not a whole one as arrogant as that sound. We always have fun with it, and of course, if the Chiefs drop another one, we'll be on here to sound off to blow the horn again. But it is, and that consistency is something as a fan that you enjoy. I enjoy being able to have my bourbon and hang out on Sunday and not have to worry about it, you know, and win 35-0. And so, it can get very boring, but we still have to continue to play. We've got to stay healthy. Rashee Rice has got to continue. We got to continue to work him in, get him back into shape, and just overall continue to not play down to your opponents, hunt down the Colts, take control of the division. Everything's right there still for the Chiefs.
It is.
And
It
and
is.
and we're ready to roll. But we still have to go out there, and there's a reason why there's 17 games, and you got to go out and play them, Um, and so there's that. But other than that, Tim, any final thoughts on the Chiefs, Lions, anything? I think we're about wrapped up.
No, I don't. I just I think it's enjoy it, Chiefs fans. I think you're ready to see a long run starting right here.
Yes.
I think those players don't need motivation. They've seen the dark side. They saw what it felt like to be 2-0. They did not like it. They do not want to go back there. Andy Reid does not have to say one word to motivate that team to win because they don't want to go back there.
Yes. Yeah.
I think we're in for a nice long run here and ending in another Super Bowl appearance. So
Yes.
fun time, enjoy.
I think we pack it in for the winter months. We gear up for January. Never want to wish anything away, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be fun. With that, we are ready and set to go. Guys, once again, this is the Heartland Huddle podcast. Hey, if you're still watching, you're a huddler now. Hit the subscribe button. Like you're one of us. We want to build this community. We want to build this fandom. We appreciate you guys rocking with us. New episodes every Wednesday. You can catch us here on our YouTube channel at Heartland NFL Talk. You can also catch us on Spotify as well at Heartland Huddle. Tim, once again, I appreciate having you on, man. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
And we'll do it again. I appreciate it.
Okay. Sounds good. Go Chiefs.
All righty. Go Chiefs.